The empire's on the run. Alex Jones and the GCN Radio Network.
A chemical spill contaminating the water supply in 9 West Virginia counties.
This year alone, over 300,000 people in West Virginia had their drinking water contaminated.
What are the health effects of having these drugs in our drinking water?
It's forced medical treatment without the consent of residents.
My friends, water filtration is one of the most basic actions you can take to protect you and your family from the harmful toxins and heavy metals in your tap water.
On average, the county says it sprays with the glyphosate at least once a week.
Few filters cut out the glyphosate that is found in water supplies worldwide. Remove pesticides, herbicides, chloramines, hydrofluorosilicic acid, sodium hexafluorosilicate.
Fluoride, it is in tea, it's in coffee, it's in water, it's in bread, it's in toothpaste.
It is our responsibility to protect our families. The establishment's not going to do it. It's time to take action. It's time to filter our water. Visit InfoWarsStore.com and use promo code WATER to get 10% off their entire family of incredible products. Or call toll-free 888-253-3139. From the water table to our soils to the atmosphere itself, our world is becoming more and more toxic each and every day. But it's not just the air outside that's toxic. Indoor air has been shown to have 2 to 5 times higher concentrations of pollutants than even outdoor air. And most Americans spend 90% of their time inside using toxic chemicals within their homes. There are more than 42 million smokers in the United States. Well over 1,000 types of mold and mildew linked to numerous conditions. And don't forget the fact that 6 million Americans live with pets they're allergic to as well. When I began to research these statistics, it was clear to me it was time to start cleansing my lungs in order to combat the toxic environment that we cannot escape, but that we can fight back against. Made with organic and wild cultivated herbs and manufactured in the USA, the new InfoWars Life Lung Cleanse is here in a convenient spray bottle that can be brought with you throughout any toxic environment. Now available exclusively at InfoWarsLife.com or by calling toll-free 888-253-3139.
Hi, I'm Dr. Edward Group. It took me 20 years of searching the globe to find the deposit of the highest purity iodine available. The new Survival Shield X2 is mined from 7 to 10,000 feet below the earth in pristine, environmentally clean conditions. The iodine crystals we use are extracted from an ancient 300 million plus year old deposit deep in the earth. It's the strongest nascent iodine on the market today. It delivers 650 micrograms per drop. Experience the new formula. Experience the ancient purity. Shield your family. Survival Shield X2. Available now at InfoWarsLife.com.
X2 from InfoWarsLife.com or call toll-free 888-253-3139.
Rallying patriots worldwide in defense of human liberty. It's Alex Jones.
Generals gathered in their masses.
All right, final segment with Bruce Fein, and I'm going right to your calls for the folks that are patiently holding. Also, CJ running the board and producing in there. His brother's a little person, like the actor that plays Mini-Me in Austin Powers, who's released a photo on his Facebook that we'll show here in a moment, where they literally went in the back of his pants at the airport. And I've heard CJ talk about the stuff they do to his brother. And then it turns out Buckley, my cousin that works here, actually knows Vern Troyer this happened to. So I'd love to get Mini-Me of Dr. Evil on the show just to illustrate all of this. And my point is, the illegals, again, the churches are advertising on NPR, send money, give money. They're paying to get them here on buses. Then they stage them at the churches and deploy them all over the country to be Democratic voters, using the fact that we've got collectivism here to buy them off as voters. Oh, you'll vote for socialism? Gun control will give you money. And my issue is we do need more workers in this country. We've aborted 53 million of our kids. So I'm not against skilled workers or hardworking workers coming in. But that's not the reform they're pushing. They're pushing just totally letting anybody in to further bankrupt. And Bruce, I briefly want to get back into world politics and that question I was asking you geopolitically about the elite and their mindset. But this ties into the lawlessness. If I fly with my children, they want to pull them aside and grope them at the airport and put them in naked body scanners and treat me like a terrorist, while al-Qaeda groups are being funded to attack Syria. And you know, they're searching well-known movie stars at the airport, sticking their hands down their pants. And then meanwhile, the illegals, the Border Patrol's been told stand down, but then I go through Border Patrol checkpoints 100 miles in when I haven't even left the U.S., and I swear, when I'm a U.S. citizen, they want to search my vehicle. So they're using it as a power grab. What is happening with all this selective enforcement? It ties in to just the lawlessness of the state. I mean, what's happening? What is this spirit of just craziness I see? Is it coming to a head? Is it a cycle? Are we just more aware of it? What's happening?
Well, I call the psychology of empires one of limitless executive power, and it subordinates everything from even the appearance of something that smacks of safety, and liberty is subordinated very readily to a claim of safety, even when it's ridiculous. For example, the TSA has acknowledged it's thwarted 0 terrorist plots ever since it began, and yet it continues on. I go on Amtrak regularly on the Northeast, and there's never any searches whatsoever, and there's never been any terrorism at all. So what's going on here? How come Amtrak record is the same as the TSA, and Amtrak isn't destroying our privacy and liberty every time we go on a train? But it is characteristic of empires to become exceptionally sensitive to the idea of a risk-free existence, become arrogant in that score. And when you search for a risk-free existence, you then become vassals and serfs to a Leviathan government, and you'll accept everything. It's like the surveillance programs of the NSA, the search programs of TSA, the willingness of the American people to permit the president to go abroad in search of monsters to destroy, claim power to use predator drones anywhere he wishes, kill anybody he wishes, all he says in the name of safety. But in fact, the irony, Alex, is it makes us less safe. We give weapons, we prop up countries like Afghanistan, we make one ingrate the recipient. I mean, Hamid Karzai, the president of Afghanistan, would blast us every day, even when he's on the CIA's payroll. And we make hundreds, if not thousands, of new enemies, namely the people who are all opposed to the ingrate. So it's a lose-lose situation. It, in fact, makes us less safe. But it is this illusion of safety that justifies this limitless executive power. And you're talking about, you know, why is it that those who are the power elite continue to fight these ridiculous wars? Is it megalomania? And the fact is it is. It's power for the sake of power. Think of the stupidity of Napoleon going to Moscow. I mean, what did he do that? He lost 2 million of his army, had to burn the city down, or Hitler declaring war on Stalin, or the Japanese attacking us at Pearl Harbor. These are utterly ridiculous decisions made. But when you have that kind of authority and you have this, we're the only superpower, you make utterly ridiculous decisions just because you feel that you can do it. It's sort of the bully on the playground flexing his muscles. And that's what makes it so disgraceful. They aren't even doing it to help the United States. It's just to make their ego satisfied and propitiated.
Well, I know this. The Tea Party is winning almost every primary right now, and every libertarian conservative I know is sick of war, sick of all this garbage. So are the Democrats. And I wish we could all just come together and restore basic rule of law, basic freedom. But if the Republican Party does not get wise and join with Rand Paul and others in trying to reform themselves, I shudder to think where it's all going. In closing, what do you expect to happen if we're not able to get a Rand Paul elected? He is the Republican Party frontrunner, but we're still a while out from that.
I view Rand as the last great hope of the country. If we don't elect Rand Paul president in 2016, I can guarantee you that within 20 or 30 years, we will have a one-branch executive government that operates in secrecy, will be involved in perpetual warfare, will be bankrupting ourselves, and we will lose the republic. We think you have surveillance problems now. You can think, Alex, at how rapidly technology is moving. to enable the government to spy with greater and greater intensity on our lives. Now they're gathering pictures of us as well as our conversations, our telephone data. And without a Rand Paul in there, all the other candidates are willing to support the Leviathan state. That's not what we sacrificed for at Valley Forge, Cemetery Ridge, Omaha Beach. And it would be a true tragedy if we didn't have the strength to avoid squandering all the liberty that was won by these great, wise, and courageous people, and our posterity inherit some kind of tyranny. I mean, history will execrate this generation if we permit liberty to slip out of our hands when it's happening right in front of our face.
Bruce Fein, thank you for the time. Great articles at the Huffington Post. I'm glad they published them. We'll talk again soon.
Thank you, Alex. Bye-bye.
There goes Attorney Bruce Fein. I just thought we should discuss the role of our nation in a republic versus an empire. And again, it'd be bad enough if we had an empire, but as citizens we were actually getting something out of it, like the Roman Empire or even the British Empire. We pay for everything and then get big debts and the blame for it. This is not helping us. People say, we have an empire in the Middle East to get their oil, to get the oil companies the oil so they can sell it to Europe and the Chinese. That oil doesn't really come here compared to the other nations. They shut down our oil exploration for 50 years as part of that deal. We have more oil in Alaska than Saudi Arabia has. That's now admitted. I had guests on 15 years ago exposing that. Now it's mainstream news. In fact, guys, I forgot. I saw a report over the weekend where they discovered there's more water, 3 times more water under the Earth's surface in the mantle and the crust than there is above it, and that the oceans are really controlled by that subdermal, I guess you could call it, water, which is what the Bible says, but the water's out of the deep. And, of course, that's been known for a long time. And there's an aquifer the size of Texas under Texas. And it's just, we don't even know 1/10 the secrets of our own planet. They're finding new species all the time. There's so much wonderment. And I'll tell you why I've been bummed out that I'm going to your calls. It's because humanity has so much potential and is so good. And there's so much wonderment and discovery all around us. And I care about every man, woman, and child on this planet. I don't care what color you are. And the worst people in the world that have it out for everybody are the ones that use all this bleeding heart manipulation to control the population. And I don't like having to focus on the globalist. I mean, let me tell you something. I look at Joe Biden with his you-know-what-eating grin and just all his con artistry and how these guys think they're so slick. I get physically angry. TSA wants to grab my genitals, man. I get mad. Not just that they want to violate me, it's all a hoax. I'm going to go to your calls, but I said I'd do this. I want to talk about Vern Troyer. We have the image. We'll put it up on screen. Because an image does say 1,000 words. A picture says 1,000 words. He's a well-known, one of the best-known little people. I guess he would technically be a dwarf. I guess a midget has proportionally the right size. A dwarf doesn't, has a lot more health problems. And I think dwarves are more common, aren't they, than little people. The point than midgets. Vern Troyer posts cheeky pic of being searched by TSA agent while security reps say screening was standard procedure. Well, as long as it's standard to have someone bend you over and stick their hand down the back of your pants to see what's in your butt crack. And he doesn't look like he's doing too good physically there. Does he still have his legs there in that photo? I know they have a lot of health problems, poor little guy. But there's Mini-Me. He's been in so many movies. Mini-Me of Dr. Evil. And then look next to it, you have the royals dressed up in their royal outfits. I'm going to vomit, man. You got these people that are above the law. Nobody searches them because they stole a bunch of people's money. Like Kim Jong-un, third-generation dictator. He's now starting to wear crowns, fancy headdresses. That's what happens. You're a dictator of the first generation. You're a dictator of the second. The third and fourth, you're God. No, Kim Jong-un is not God. He's a piece of garbage. So you got this poor little